Hi guys, can I first just say welcome to all my lovely subscribers. Honestly, I'm overwhelmed at the response that I've had, so welcome. My name's Dawn, for anybody that's not been here before, and if it's your first time here, welcome to Lounge Bar Crime. Let's get into it. As the thumbnail suggests, today I'm going to go through the video of Nichol Kessinger on the 16th of August 2018. Now, you know that I've done the one before, or my subscribers do. I did the audio. We didn't have this video. This video hasn't been out that long. So I'm going to go through that, and I'm just going to tell you what I noticed. Now, I am not a trained analyst or anything like that. These are just purely my observations of that interview, that video. And thanks to people like Plunder, who puts her heart and soul into this case, I don't think we'd have this video at all. So we need to thank her for that. She's absolutely brilliant. So apart from the fact that I've listened to the audio of this interview quite a number of times for the last video that I did on it, this time I've watched this video quite a few times as well. There's quite a few things that I notice with NK when she gets into a sticky situation. She does a couple of things. She has a habit of, when she knows there's going to be a question coming up, she starts messing about with the corner of her eye. Now, she does do this in between as well, but quickly. So it is like a habit that she's got. But it's as though when you're actually watching this video, you'll see, I'm going to show you examples of it. You'll see when she's calculated, there's one of them questions coming straight away, she'll get into this cleaning the corner of her eye out, and it's as though she carries on doing it as well till she gets the gist of the question, and it's as though she's camouflaging her reaction. She doesn't want her reaction to be seen because she doesn't know what the question's going to be. She's just getting an idea that it's going in a different direction. And now and again, Koback does spring a question on her where she doesn't get a chance to do that. In them instances, I feel as though she kind of answers very quickly and very bluntly. She doesn't elaborate much. Now we'll go easy with the first one. This is when she first gets into the interview room and Koback says it's being recorded. Straight away she looks straight at the camera. She's already worked that out, but that's easy peasy for NK. I wouldn't say that there's anything much there. She would have worked that out walking in the room. So yeah, just have a look.
I just turned the recorder. Okay. So again, this room is recorded, and video and audio. We introduced ourselves in the lobby earlier, so we're just going to do that again real quick. My name is Kevin Koback. I'm with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and we're assisting the Frederick Police Department with this case involving Chris Watts. And this is Tim Martinez,
also an agent at CBI.
Sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Dwayne Kessinger. I'm Nicole's father.
Dwayne, what's your birthday? You determined it was North Glen, right?
Yes.
Do you know your zip code?
80241.
Okay. Can you speak up just a little bit so the recorder, I know you're tired and you're stressed, and we won't be here any longer than we have to be. You've already had a conversation with people before. You came here on your own free will.
What I didn't pick up on last time was Koback just said, you know, we introduced ourselves earlier in the lobby. I don't understand why they would do that. Should not everything just happen in that interview room? Why are they having conversations in the lobby? Also, as you can see, NK starts off like in a sulking motion sort of thing. That doesn't last very long. Now the thing is, if that had escalated into being upset and she'd stayed like that, then I wouldn't even be mentioning this now. But the fact is, you just know that that's just a temporary thing. It's not going to last, because when she starts talking about herself, she can't stop. In this next clip, you'll notice that Koback starts asking her about her work and things like that. And yeah, she's answering him. She's looking him straight on. She's adding bits to it that he's not really asking for, so she's volunteering information. Then straight out the blue, Koback goes, and is that where you met Chris? And immediately her finger goes to the inner corner of her eye and she says yes, and when she says yes, it's quieter. It's just yes.
office and you take care of health safety for Anadarko is an oil and gas company, right?
Yes.
So you're doing health safety in the office and Chris works in the field
Yes.
as a, what kind of job does he do?
He's an operator, so I don't know like all of his daily duties, but he's a field operator, so he works with like the oil wells.
So he goes out and does work on those, whatever
Yes.
that work might be. But he comes into the office frequent.
In the
or-
mornings, his team meets in the mornings. They're not all in there every day. Some days, some of them are in there. Some days, other ones are in there. But in the mornings, typically from like 6:15 to probably 7, somewhere around there.
And is that where you met Chris?
Yes.
Okay. So can you just take us through kind of a little bit of the early part of how he courted you or you courted him? I don't know which one happened. How you guys got to know each other.
I guess we just started talking.
So next you'll see, right off the cuff, Koback asks her, so you went to his house twice. Now, he did do that straight off the cuff. She didn't have time to anticipate what he was going to ask there at all. So she does reply, and she's not giving anything away. But I do notice that she doesn't give any further information. It's as though she's withholding. She might not be. It's as though she is. Because when they're asking about Chris and work, she's giving them information that they're not asking for. When they're asking her about her moves, at this stage, it's just, yes, I went there. She only answers what they're asking.
Don't take offense to it. Again, it's just part of what we need to know.
Understood.
So you went to his house on 2 occasions.
Yes.
Was that recent?
No, that was like pretty early into it, and I did not like it and did not want to go back.
Do you recall where the house was?
Yeah, it's like right off the highway in Frederick.
Okay. And you know the streets?
I mean, I'm sure I could figure it out again if I like really had to. Like off the top of my head, no.
Do you know the street name?
No. I would have to like drive around in there to get there.
Okay.
She's also just lied to Koback straight to his face that she doesn't know. She doesn't know the address. She would have to drive around to know. And she knows exactly what the address is. And I'm sure that at this stage, Koback has actually seen some of the messages anyway. So he knows that she knows that address.
How is his relationship as you've been asking him?
Yes, and then if he
When
decided,
did you go to North Carolina?
I think it was like the last week of July, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So I mean, this was like a couple weeks that I was just kind of like trying to push him to do that.
Let's pause at North Carolina, and we'll come back to that real quick. I want you to read this. If you don't understand what it means, then ask me the question. But basically what it says is you have the right not to let me look at your phone.
So at one stage there, she's rabbiting on about North Carolina. She's facing him. Everything's fine. And then all of a sudden she notices that Koback leans forward and he has this piece of paper. Straight away, she doesn't know what it is. She knows that he's presenting her with something. So straight away, her head goes down and her fingers go in her eye again until she gets the grip of what the question is going to be or what the paper is, what he's asking for. So this paper that he wants her to sign, it's for all the text messages, photographs, everything. And obviously she gets embarrassed about this. She looks to her dad as well. So she's asking, she's hoping that at one stage that he pulls her out the shit. Also, Koback goes into this explanatory detail about why he needs this. I mean, it's quite obvious. You shouldn't have to explain all this to her. It keeps the silence. She knows how to do that to get what she wants.
I'm asking to look at your phone for the purposes we previously discussed, for the text messages and your phone log, and unfortunately the photos that are attached therein too. That information is only relative to this investigation. I'm not looking at anything else except for the conversations between you and Chris Watts and the phone data between you and Chris Watts for phone calls, for times and dates for those phone calls. And then the content of the text messages that are there. And we'll write that specifically down here. Understand that
I don't want anybody to get some of those texts. Like, they have nothing to do with this case, and they're just like...
Between you and Chris?
Yes, they're just...
So just tell me what
they're just kind of raunchy.
Okay,
like, I
well,
don't need anybody.
everybody's an adult.
Posted like
We're not gonna
somewhere.
So when Kay says in this video, they have nothing to do with the case, meaning the text messages and the photographs and everything. Well, actually, love, they do. They do. The same as leave Jim alone. That does. So I don't really understand where this all comes from, where she just makes these decisions that they're not relevant to the case. Leave Jim alone. She actually also says, like, leave Anadarko out of it. She doesn't want Anadarko affiliated with it. So, and I don't know why they're talking in the lobby before they get in the interview room. So, to me, this is why we've got this problem with NK.
You know, has he ever said something to you that might indicate, maybe not then, but now, that there was something like this in his mind? Or you know what we're looking for. I don't need to come out and tell you that. I understand the embarrassment of particular photos or potential sexual types of conversations you may have had with Chris. It's not relative to the investigation. We don't care. Okay, you're an adult. I'm an adult. Everybody in this room, even your dad, and I give it to you for saying that stuff in front of your dad, because I'm not sure many women could do that. So that's not what we're after. We're after the information that corroborates things that you've told us, and also that corroborates or may tend to prove that things that Chris told us were a lie. You understand that? Mm-hmm. And that's maybe going a little bit far. I usually won't tell people that, but because of your reservations, that's what I'm looking for. If I can disprove something he's told me by a phone records don't lie. People do. Okay? So if I can disprove something that may be important, that's what I need it for. I'm not saying I can. Has it happened before? Absolutely. Is it critical in cases that I've worked in the past? Yes. So that's why I want it. Okay? Again, you don't have to give it to me. You can tell me, I don't want you to have it. Go get a warrant. I'm not even going to tell you if I go get a warrant, try to get a warrant right now. I'm just asking for you to consent. And again, we can write right here what you're willing to give me, which is the text messages and the phone log. And unfortunately, again, the attachments on some of those text messages. And I'll write it on there, and then you'll just sign it. Okay? Do you understand the questions there? Do you have questions about it? And I know you're tired, so if you want to let your dad read it too.
He will. Thank you.
That's a good idea.
Can you fill it out before I sign it?
Yep. And just, you read it, and if you have any questions, then we'll put on there what we're after.
I'm so hungry.
You should have told me. I would have got you some food. I got food in my car.
It's not staying down. It's just coming.
She hadn't been feeling good. Not because of any, just...
Like, I got sick prior to this whole thing happening, and then I think all of this compounding with the fact that I'm sick, it's just not good. I've not really been eating or sleeping much at all.
I'm with you. We definitely need to accelerate the case, because the more it takes, the less sure that they are of situations. But on the other end, I think if you do just that only...
You tell me what you're willing to provide to me, and we'll write it.
Is that good enough?
I just want, like, our text conversation, and then, I guess, our phone call records.
So I'm going to put...
So the time and date of the phone call records, and then our text message.
Could we get photos of him?
Huh?
Could we get photos of him?
Off of
Would
that?
you mind if we got his photos that he sent to you?
Oh, well, they'll be in that text message thing.
So all his photos were sent... There was no apps or anything else used that you guys were sending? It was all just text.
When she turns to her dad as well for advice, he agrees that she should sign it, but he adds, if you only do that. It's unbelievable, isn't it? How can Koback has already said that really he doesn't really want to get a warrant. So I think that's the only reason she signed anything over, because there was that bit of a threat of a warrant. Otherwise, I think she would have just carried on with this with the phone, not handing anything over. At one stage as well, Koback does say to her, do you think that there's anything on there that could be relevant to the case? And she doesn't actually answer that question. She just waffles on about something else. And he doesn't pull her, and he doesn't say to her, right, fine, thanks. Can you just answer the question? Or just ask her the question again? But he doesn't do that.
As far as like no Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter, no LinkedIn, like none of it. So there was never any of that kind of correspondence. So I think that should probably cover everything you guys will need.
Is there any particular messages that would help me so I don't have to look at, because whatever's on your phone, I don't know how long we're going to get back to, but let's say is there a particular date or time or message that stands out to you that would be relative to, specifically to the investigation into this case, that might assist me in understanding why something like this could have occurred?
I'm still in shock that this whole thing happened. Like that's why I gave him the benefit of the doubt for the first day, because I was just like, no way. Like, I didn't even think about that. I mean, murder was not on the top of my mind when somebody doesn't come home for an evening, especially if they just, like, had some sort of, like, heated conversation. It's like, okay, you guys are separating, you have a heated conversation, you leave for a night.
When Koback asks about where his family was, she's very blasé. She's facing him, she faces him full on. She's not bothered, but she's very, one word answers. She doesn't really go into it. When they get onto about why she was at his house and the macros, this conversation again goes on and on and on. I mean, why does she think she's in that room? What does she think she's doing there? She's there to answer questions on a murder inquiry, and she's talking about macros for far too long, and then anything that's relevant about him going to see his family and what happened, and it's like, yep. She's just like quite flippant, with her responses.
They called her Cece.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So he went to. Were they in North Carolina?
They were already there.
If you want something.
I don't know if my stomach would do that. Yeah, they were already out there. He just flew out there to go meet up.
Do you know why they were there?
They're all from there.
Okay, so they were there.
They were visiting her family for the most part until he got there. And then they still were mostly visiting her family.
Okay. And do you know how long they had been there?
A while, like weeks.
All right. And he flew out to join his family there.
Yep.
Do you know specifically where he flew to?
What, airport?
No. What city?
No, not off the top of my head.
Okay.
I'm sure if I thought real hard, maybe I could think about it, but I mean, come up with it. No, I don't know.
All right. So he goes there. You said it was like the last week of July?
I think so. I think it was like one of the last days of July. I'm almost positive. I think it was a weekday.
Okay.
Now, I dropped like 12 pounds in 2 weeks when I first started like hitting it hard with the diet. So the fact that he lost like that much weight, it wasn't, like I said, it was not a surprising amount. I just didn't want it to be like a sustained amount. But no, I didn't think anything weird of it just because of like how interknitted I am with the like workout community, and I know like this is possible. But it just, the thing that concerned me about it, I guess, and it wasn't even concern, but the thing that like kind of red lighted me like, hey, this might be carrying on, is the fact that his macros were like pretty dialed in. Like I had wrote them and he like didn't stay exactly on them, but his calorie intake was about where it needed to be, my experience anyways, for like what he was trying to achieve. And so I don't know, he didn't seem to have a problem with it. He liked where he was at with all of that.
So that was your main conversation Saturday?
That was like a big chunk while we were there, is like us actually going through, because I was like going through each item like, why are your ratios off?
Did you know where his kids or wife were that night?
On Saturday?
Yeah, his kids. Well, you know his kids are with the babysitter. Do you know where his wife is?
She's in Arizona.
Okay. How do you know that?
Because he told me.
Okay. Do you know what she's doing there?
I think she's on a business trip. He didn't even tell me right away. He actually told me, I think, like on Saturday or something. It might have been like Friday or something. I honestly don't remember.
I mean, she definitely loves the attention, and she does like to yap, but she likes to yap about what she wants to yap about. So all eyes are on her while she's got the floor, but she's not actually doing what she's there to do, which is give as much information as she can to help solve this case. So she's just waffled on about Chris's macros and more or less telling us how brilliant she is at working them out. And then Koback says to her, and like, do you know where his wife was Saturday night? In Arizona. Do you know what she was doing there? Oh, she was on a business trip. I mean, they're the reasons that she's there, to answer them sort of questions, not all about how she works her macros out, what ratio she does her macros at, and how she was trying to help Chris.
Okay. Is there much conversation regarding that, her on being on a trip, or the children during those conversations?
Not really. I just asked him what time she was coming home on Sunday, and he just said really late.
Okay.
And that was it. I mean, there's nothing really to talk about with that.
So your conversations mainly health related. You guys return to your house and then he goes home, and then you talk to him for a few hours on Sunday.
Did I? Are you asking me or are you telling me?
I'm asking you.
Oh, I was like, I don't even know. Someday, honestly, so wait a minute. That was Saturday. We're talking about Saturday. We're not talking about Sunday right now.
Okay, so you're still on Saturday.
Yes.
You guys have a phone conversation when he gets home?
That was the day that he got the babysitter and I went out to dinner, not Sunday.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I just want to make sure
That's
you
okay.
got your
Yep.
days right. So Saturday, yes, we went out, he had the babysitter, he went home. I'm sure we did. We always talk on the phone. And honestly, I mean, Mark asked me that the other day. He's like, how long are you on the phone? 15 minutes, 20 minutes? Like, you're going to have to look at the records, to be honest with you. Like, so much.
You like to talk, I can tell a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
So Koback wraps up in the interview what happened Saturday night, and he says you go home and then you talk to him for a few hours on Sunday. And she says, did I? Oh, are you asking me or are you telling me? And then she says, well, we're still on Saturday. So he says, oh, right. So, we just more or less, we don't want this to get messed up. We're still on Saturday. But then she does sort of nip in back to that conversation, which ties it off for her and says, oh, I'm sure we did. We talked about all sorts of things. So she's still not giving any kind of explanation. So she starts talking about what's fair to her and what's not fair to her. She also gets like a little bit emotional talking about the long-term effects that all this is going to have on his family, everybody sort of involved. And then she gets back to herself again, how it's going to cause problems for her probably for a few years to come. But it's only when they start talking about his family and things like that, she starts doing this emotional bit. Although she's doing the emotional bit, she still then gets back to her again. So is that emotional bit, is that about her, or is that about his children or his family that this is going to affect? So although the emotions come at a time when she's talking about her family, it seems to me they've come straight after she's talking about how it's going to affect her life. But there's some interesting bits here that I want you to see.
Having an affair. It wasn't fair to me to have him lie to me and make me think that everything is going to plan. And still to this day, I don't even know what's a lie and what's not. I don't even know if they were like filing for divorce. I don't know if they were putting the house up. I don't even know anymore what is real and what is not. But what I do know is it's just like, that wasn't fair to me either, because if I'd have known not even all the truth, but like obviously some of it, I wouldn't have even engaged in any of this in the first place. And it just, and that's the part for me, just like on my personal level, outside of everything that is happening, that is going to affect me long term. It's like, I'm going to wake up every day and know that like this mom and her unborn child and these two little girls are not around anymore. And it breaks my heart. It is so, oh my God. And then I have to think about like the consequences of his actions and how they affect everybody else. Like all of her family's impacted. My name is about to be like slandered for probably a while. I don't know how long it's going to take to heal, but I would not be surprised if it's going to be hard to go out in public sometimes for a couple of years. And that really hurts me. I'm just like, this is a horrible, horrible thing. Like, how dare you, and people aren't going to understand that. They're going to say, oh, you're the woman that had an affair with this man who took out his whole family. And I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know. Like, I He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and oh, those little girls. They're so little. They're so little.
We talked a little bit earlier about getting some help for these things, and we can provide that
Okay.
at really no cost. Through the state.
One more.
So I timed them tears, and I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I got to about 20 seconds before her dad started talking, and they instantly stopped because she had to take in the information and started listening to her dad. Where her dad then says, we need to accelerate this case and pound this down. And then Koback starts apologising again. That is, it's come to this stage that he's had to do this, and
We just want to make sure there's resolution. That's why we come to you guys to pound it down until there's
I'm
nothing left.
sorry that you're talking again today. I really am. I don't want to put you through any more trauma than you've already been through. There is reasons for everything that we're doing today and what occurred. And I'm sorry. I genuinely am sorry. These are not things that we like to do twice. It's the same thing with other types of victims from other crimes. We want to do it once and we want to be done. Unfortunately, we didn't know yesterday what we know today. And that's why we're here, because we need this video. And I am sorry, because I know it's hard to talk about it.
God, it's so sad, and she's pregnant.
And, on our end, we
God,
didn't.
and they're so cute. They're so little. Like, wow. Why? Ow! I don't even understand how you could, bring yourself to do that to somebody who's, that big. Oh, Jesus.
Take a minute. Do you want to step out for a minute?
No, I just need to chill with my eyes closed for a sec.
we get the why from her, and she starts crying again, which is all of 50 seconds. I mean, when I looked at pictures of those little girls, I cried longer than that. She's been looking at the pictures of these kids. She knows the father. She knows that somewhere, if she's not involved, she's the catalyst for this. We don't know. I don't know. I don't know if yous do. I'm not saying yous don't. I'm just saying I don't know to what extent she was involved. But even if she was only the catalyst, I think most people would have been slumping in that chair, getting in there, and would have been a mess. And she just wouldn't. If you just roll back 5-10 minutes when she was talking about macros and how much she knows about them, and then you get to this stage, it's absolutely ridiculous. She stops the crying, and Koback asks her, "Do you want to step out for a minute?" And she says, "No, I just need to chill for a minute with my eyes shut." That was all of 18 seconds. And then she says, "Right, let's carry on, because we're just getting to the meat of this."
I still cannot believe this is happening. Alright, let's keep going, because we're just getting to the meat of this whole
Let's
situation.
get to the phone call on Saturday from 9 to 11. What did you guys, or pardon me, on Sunday from 9 to 11?
So again, Koback brings up this 2-hour conversation on Sunday night. And she says, "Yeah, I don't think I was concerned about anything at that point." He wasn't asking her if she was concerned about anything. He was asking her, what was the conversation about? But she won't she won't disclose what this conversation was about.
Yeah, we talked a few times. So, Sunday, I think so. I need to think. I can't even think.
Take a couple breaths and take a second.
Sunday night. I don't even know. I don't think I was like concerned about anything at that point.
You guys had had a meal, the next meal the night before. You knew his wife was probably coming home late that evening.
Oh, you know what? I still don't remember what we talked about. I honestly, we talk about so much random stuff. It's so hard to pinpoint some of these things. I don't remember what we talked about. I do remember that was a long phone conversation that we probably talked about all sorts of stuff. One thing I do remember though, that I didn't remember earlier when I was talking to Mark. So this is where I'm starting to remember little bits and pieces. I don't remember. Yeah, I know. So the phone conversation, I don't remember what was in the phone conversation. Probably nothing of relevance, to be honest with you. But usually he talks to me when he's down in the basement in his bed before he goes to bed and before I go to bed. And I could hear the TV on, which I thought was kind of weird. I didn't ask him. I just heard it in the background. And I remember thinking, and it was right before we got off the phone, I was like, why the hell is he up?
So, still not giving anything away about this 2-hour conversation. But what she does say is that she does remember that it wasn't in the basement. So, again, we're going back now to something that's really pissed her off that night. Because that night, she remembers that there was a TV on in the background. And there's no TV in the basement. So obviously she knew that he was in the bed and it was getting quite late. So she was obviously at that stage pissed off because she remembers a lot of detail about that. So she can actually remember a TV in the background while she was having a conversation, but she can't remember what the conversation was about for a few hours. So that doesn't add up. How can you remember that it looked like he was in the bedroom, but there's a TV on in the background, but I can't remember the conversation that's going on? So it's like she's clearing her chest that has really cheesed her off, that she knows he's in the bedroom.
And there's no TV downstairs, so I was well, maybe, I don't know.
No TV in the basement where he usually calls you from.
Yeah, and I don't know how many TVs they have. I've never been in their bedroom. I went upstairs once and it was to their little playroom and I just looked at it and I was like, that's super cute that your girls have books, and that was it. And other than that, I have never been in any of those rooms in that upstairs. To me, it was just you don't know, ever. I had no, so I don't know if he has any other TVs. I'm assuming by how much other nice stuff they have in their house, it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm not quite sure what room he was in at that point. But I just remember hearing the TV and I was it was just weird to me because I was why are you watching TV right now? It was super late.
Koback then wants to know what Chris did on Sunday, and she drops herself in it by saying, I don't know, I can't even remember what I did on Sunday. And then she's looking to her dad for help. Obviously, then the story comes out. We went to the museum. That's been pulled to pieces as well quite a bit, but that's what she says. But straight away she's looking to her dad. She's got her head down, she's looking away. She's not liking this one bit.
Still 6 or 7.
Do you know what he did Sunday during the day?
I don't even know what I did on Sunday during the day. I am so tired. Let me just think about this. Daniel came over Friday. I hung out with him Saturday. And then Sunday...
If I say that he may have done something with his children, would that refresh
yes.
your memory?
He went to a birthday party.
Okay. Do you know whose house he was going to?
Then she goes into the story after Koback asking her about what happened Monday morning. And she goes into this whole story about how Chris had told her that morning, that Shanann had told Chris that morning that she was pregnant and that it wasn't his. And he's telling NK this for the first time. Because of course she didn't know, did she? Also, she's telling Koback she didn't know. The first time she knew about it was when she heard it on the news.
But he said that he went to get her up which I also found weird because, like, she's still sleeping when he leaves because she gets up with the kids, and they get up shortly after that, but, like, it's just him in the mornings, you know. And so he said that she woke up and those two kind of just, like, got in a disagreement, and I don't know what all was said, but he was like, she was being pretty mean, and then he said, she told me that she's pregnant, and she told me that the kid is not mine. That is what he told me.
So she's pregnant, the kid's not mine.
And that she's...
Like, he's claiming he didn't know she was pregnant?
Yep.
Until that morning.
Yep.
And that she had an affair with somebody else.
Yes, and this is before I knew she was 15 weeks pregnant.
Okay.
Like, all the stuff on Monday that I read from my recollection, because I didn't find out she was pregnant until Tuesday, so anything that got posted on Monday did not emphasize the fact that she, like, had a baby on board. So then, not Monday. Monday I did not. But Tuesday, yeah, that's when it all started to click. I was like, oh my goodness, because he was like, well, like, he just didn't seem as, like, concerned as he should be, and he was, like, super worried about shit with us, and I'm just like...
So concerned about his family and overly concerned about your relationship.
Yes.
Okay.
And I kept, like, trying to put it on the back burner, and shame on me for bringing it up in the first place. I was just really taken back, like, wait a minute. She's 15 weeks, like, how would you not notice that? Like, I was just, like, I was confused, and I was also like, is he lying to me? And I kind of wanted to know because I realized that, like, there's a situation at hand here, and I'm just like, what is going on? You know, and for part of it, it wasn't even, like, me trying to find out because I'm upset. It was almost like me trying to find out because I'm like, is there something else I'm missing here? Like, I felt like there was, like, pieces to this puzzle that I didn't know existed that were, like, not in place, and it was strange. And so, anyways, I told him, I was like, be honest with me. I was like, don't lie. And I don't remember exactly how it went, but I was, like, trying to emphasize, like, stop bullshitting me. So he told me the truth. And he told me it was his, and then he knew about it.
Okay.
Maybe she took off with somebody, maybe she didn't. I mean, I don't know, because she's a grown woman and she can make those choices.
But some of this...
And then we get to the saga of the wedding ring. And even in that, she tries to point a finger at Chris. I mean, Chris is a murderer. But we're not talking at this stage about him being a murderer. We're talking about him with the wedding ring. And she makes out she can't believe that he said, what do I do with this? And yet she says to pawn it. Like, she's more normal. She actually believes that.
He was strange. So another thing, so that was Tuesday, and that was it for Tuesday, but I forgot some stuff on Monday that I did need to bring up to you guys. So Monday, when we were on the phone at one point, he mentioned to me, I can't even believe I have to say this, she left her wedding ring here. And I said something along the lines of, does that mean you two are done? And he was like, he said, how much do you think it's worth? And I was like, remember hearing him say that and being like, what the fuck? And I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't even know how to respond to this. And so I was like, I don't know, pawn it, man. And I was just like, I pawn jewelry all the time. I pawn jewelry a few times. I was like, it's not worth shit, though. And I was like, so I don't know if you really want to do that. And he's like, no, I think I'm going to get it appraised. It's a nice rock. And I was just like, okay. And it was, like, really awkward.
And that was on Monday?
That was on Monday night. And that, to me, was like, it was kind of strange. And then
Can I just say as well, it's only at this stage that I've noticed that Dwayne Kessinger has got his phone on the table, and I'm wondering whether he's taping that conversation or that full interview. There's a thought. So when Koback's asking her what she thinks happened that night, that morning, the only scenario that she can come up with is that the kids woke up and saw Chris doing Shanann in. Well, isn't that funny? Because that's what Chris said. See, can I tell you something? at stages, you know, in this interview, I part believed her, but then I had to keep reminding myself of how she looked Koback in the face and said, well, originally she'd been to that house once, then twice. You know, she wasn't sure where it was. Oh, I mean, we could go on all day of the lies that she told, looking him in the face. And then, like I say, she'll say something else and you'll think, yeah, that's plausible. And then she'll look Koback in the face and then she'll tell him something like that. And it matches completely with one of Chris's stories. So that just sounds like they've had a tete-a-tete on this, on what happened. Is that why he had to delete all his messages out the phone? Although I don't think that she would have said anything like that in a text message. I don't think she's that daft. I think that maybe anything like that, if that did happen, would be in that 111 call, that she can never remember what it was. She can just remember that the TV was on in the background and that. But she remembers it was in the bedroom, which is where Shanann was murdered. So, what was it? A tete-a-tete? Yeah, I'm in the bedroom. She's not home yet. She's phoning. She's been on the phone since 9 o'clock or something.
Tuesday lying thing. Like, I'm telling you, it started like Monday night, him saying that was why I couldn't sleep, because he made the comment about the wedding ring.
Okay.
And then Tuesday, her still not coming home, and then him lying to me. And I was just like, oh my God, like, what if something happened? And it was like really hard for me to
say,
put.
what if something happened? What were you thinking?
Like, what if somebody took her? Like, could he possibly hurt her? And that was like the first time that I think, genuinely considered, did this man hurt his wife? And it was like hard for me to grasp. And I thought about it a lot, and I waited for the night because I wanted to see if she would come home. And it was already pretty late, and I had company, and I was just like, let me just see how this plays out. And my buddy Jim left, I don't know, probably like 9 or 10. Probably it's like the same time he always leaves. And then I couldn't sleep again. It was really bad. And I woke up in the morning and I saw the interview that he had with the newspapers. And he just looked really different to me.
How so?
The light in his eyes is gone. They're like a different color now. It's like he has no soul. I swear to God. I saw it and I was just like, look at his eyes. I saw his mugshot. They're not even the same color. Like, when you guys retrieve the pictures that are on my phone, look at his eyes then compared to now. Like, it's the scariest shit I think I've ever seen in my life. It freaked me out. I was like, that's not even the same man that I know. And it was really uncomfortable. But anyways, I saw that report in the morning, and I was just to the point where I was just like, all right, like, something happened. This woman is missing. Whether it was him or someone else. I know, like, a woman went missing not too long ago in Longmont. Like, I think it was like 2 months ago or something like that. And you guys, not you guys, but somebody up there called off the search on her. I don't think they ever found her. So I was like, I don't know, maybe that's connected. Maybe somebody came and got her. Maybe he did something. I don't know. But I knew, like, it was a problem. And at this point, I was like, I'm in a very messy situation with this man. And I don't know what to do. And so I called my dad, because he's like the only person that I trust with everything in the whole world. And I was just like, I have a problem. And I told him everything. And then I was like, we just discussed it. And it was like, we need to go to the cops.
And then I have just two cursory questions regarding something else, and then I think maybe Tim has a few questions for you. But I think what you say about the finances directly at his wife. Do you think that goes to the children as well? Because she took, did she treat them like that, like they were gold and they got everything as well that you know of? Or do you think there's a separate issue for why he may have done what he did to his children other than financial?
That part I don't have an answer for. I can't fucking explain that. I don't even think there is an answer. I don't even think there's any sort of like computing up here that could possibly give a rational explanation for why that would have happened. I mean, the only thing that I've honestly thought of when I play the scenario over in my head is that maybe they woke up and saw him doing in their mom. And he was like, fuck. Now I got to do this too. I don't know. I'm like, why? Because they were like his like little lifeline, you know, he that was everything to him, you know, and I get like those two have problems.
But he had a great relationship, but from what you're accounting is...
With his kids?
He loved his children.
Yeah, like that part, it's, oh my God, that's the worst part of this whole mess. The worst part of this whole mess.
We won't dwell. We don't have to.
No.
Let me ask you...
But, so no, I don't have an explanation. That's the only thing I can plausibly think of is maybe they saw it, but other than that, I don't know what the fuck.
So it ends up with the Koback asking about Charlotte. You know, who's Charlotte? Are you asking me who Charlotte is? Well, yeah. You're the one that's having the bleeding interview, NK. Who do you think is asking? And you even acting vague about your mate Charlotte. Then the eHarmony site comes up. I think it's called that, isn't it? The dating site. And yeah, it's not Charlotte because Charlotte's engaged, and Nichol never went on any dates with anybody. You know, she was just talking to people on there. And then, of course, we all know the story that she's had this conversation, and around I think it was the 19th of August, so it's about 3 days later, she goes round to Charlotte's and gets her to delete messages. So she's got Chris to delete messages, she's deleted messages, and she's got Charlotte to delete messages. So as I said in the other video, Charlotte hadn't done anything wrong to her. She hadn't fallen out with Charlotte. She didn't dislike Charlotte all of a sudden like she did Chris. So if we're supposed to go with that story that she got Chris to do it because, you know, he'd lied to her and all the rest of it, what was the reason for her to get Charlotte to delete messages? Never gave that reason. She wasn't held accountable for that.
Who's Charlotte?
Are you asking me who's Charlotte? Like one of my friends?
Mm-hmm.
She's like a really good friend of mine. Why?
Did you have some conversations with her regarding another boyfriend?
No.
That you might have met on eHarmony? Or did she meet somebody on eHarmony?
No, she's engaged.
Okay.
She's engaged.
So there's some text messages that we got off your phone, obviously. And the only reason I'm asking this is because if he found out maybe you had another boyfriend, you understand my line of questioning, that looked like maybe you had another boyfriend. And I don't know if that's this Jim guy, that maybe you guys were, no, I'm not saying that he's your boyfriend, that when we were interpreting the text messages, that it seemed like he might, you know, this man came to my house, he has a key to my house, that you're saying right now. When I look at that from my perspective, Jim may be another boyfriend for you.
Oh, no. Charlotte is like my oldest friend.
So did you have a conversation with Charlotte about Jim?
I mean, sometimes we talk about him. We're all friends.
Did you guys ever have a conversation about eHarmony?
I mean, possibly. I was on there for a while.
Okay.
But I didn't actually ever go out on any dates with guys from eHarmony. Not one. Like, I talked to a couple guys on there, but I was like, no, I didn't go on any dates.
So the only reason would be another potential reason for him to be upset.
No, he knew about Jim. He's always known that Jim is one of my good friends, and I lay it out for people at the beginning. Like, I have friends that are male, I have friends that are female. These are my friends. That's what it is. Like, he never, to me, seemed, like, jealous of Jim by, like, any means. So, no, I'm curious what text you're talking about with Charlotte. I talked to that girl so much.
I have 153 pages of text messages, so I can't, if I could pull it up, I would, but I don't know where it is only. So that's why we asked for it. And some of those things disappear in 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, unless we ask them to keep them. And sometimes we don't know in time. So that's why we do it too. Okay? So just, it was a question because it also would provide potentially a motive for what Chris did if he found out that you had another boyfriend.
Why would he kill his family?
Well, he wigs out that he finds out that you have a boyfriend and just loses it altogether. Do you understand? Because he's already losing his wife. And now his new girlfriend has another boyfriend, and he can't. There's multiple reasons why. It was a concern. That
His cheese slid off his cracker. He was like he was a lot more into me than I was into him. And it didn't make...
time?
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed his company, though.
Yeah, of course, NK was into you a lot more than you was into him. Of course he was. You see, I'm back to square one. So whatever I thought half an hour ago, that at times things sounded plausible, then listen to bullshit like that, and then I just think, no, something not right. But I'm not saying that she wasn't at the oil plant or anything else, because I don't know. She could have been at Chris's that night. I don't know. Yeah, so if you watch this video all the way through, I mean the full video, just have a look at those little signs. I'm not a body language expert or an analyst. These are just my observations. I just noticed that there's a lot of times she looks away, she puts her head down. There's a lot of fingers in the eye when she knows there's a question coming up and she needs to prepare for it. She doesn't want to show a reaction. She does do it, like I've said, a couple of times in between, but they're very quick. She looks away, she looks down, she looks up. Why is she not looking the guy in the face? She looked him in the face when she said that she'd only been to Chris's once, then twice, and she didn't know where his house was. She looked him in the face then. So why can't she look him in the face with everything? And she waffles on and gives loads of explanations when it's about Chris. When it's about her or what cheeses her off or pisses her off with Shanann, she'll just sort of give flippant answers. And she's talking about herself. She'll go on all day. It's all a bit suspect to me watching that interview. As I said, I've done the audio and I've tried not to cover the same things in both. So obviously a few things do overlap, but when we got the audio we didn't have this video. So I've covered that in the unveiling of NK. I had to do that in 2 parts because it was so long. So I will link them below. And yeah, I'll sign off. So for now, I'll say good night, stay safe and come back. See you soon. Bye.